YouTube, this is Kristen Moonrise. Welcome back to my channel. I am a light worker and astrologer, and today we're going to talk about the new moon in Gemini happening on either Saturday, June 17th or Sunday, June 18th, just depending on where you are in the world. So let's just get right to it. And here we have the natal chart for the new moon. This is set for Saturday, June 17th at 11:23 p.m. in Houston, Texas. And this is here you see the moon and sun are at 26 degrees in Gemini. And I also think it's really interesting that the North Node is in the third house, which is all about positive communication. And it's about being openly communicative, cheerful, quick-witted, and having good verbal expression. So that means that the South Node is going to be in the ninth house. And that's about a lot of negative communication traits with being conceited, insincere, arrogant, and in denial. And then here is what, just a snapshot of celestially what the sun and moon look like together in the constellation Gemini at this new moon. So the traits of Gemini. Gemini is a masculine air and mutable sign. Its energies are that it's versatile, witty, charming, lively, and amusing. The shadow side is that it's disorganized, inconsistent, superficial, cunning, and manipulative. The body parts that Gemini rules are the hands, arms, shoulders, and lungs. And if we go back to the beginning of the spring equinox, the beginning of the astrological new year, Aries is the head, it's the top. Then we had Taurus next, which rules the neck and the throat. And then now we've got Gemini, which rules the hands, arms, shoulders, and lungs. So as we follow the new moon, we go into each season, which is in alignment with the sun. We'll see that we're going down the body. And so it's a full body chart. And one thing about Gemini is that, it's twins. So it's ruling things that we have double of. We've got two hands, two arms, two shoulders, two lungs. So definitely be mindful of which body part perhaps your sun sign rules over. I think that is very interesting to note. So the dominant keyword for Gemini is I think. It's very representative of it being an air sign, which is all about the intellect, the mind, the thought, communication, all of that. And so Gemini is the chatty, clever, and slightly nervous or fidgety sign of all of the signs. And now to the oracle cards. So because it is a new moon, a new start is coming. With it being a new moon in Gemini, communication is key. And with Gemini being a mutable sign, nothing is yet set in stone, which reminds us that we are always in control of the outcome. So Gemini is about communication, a form of exchange. So how do we become better communicators or better exchangers? The problem with communication is that we think communication is all about words. The more we talk, perhaps more our point will get across, but that turns into over communication and over explaining, which is not necessarily good, which is why I try to keep these videos as short as I can. But I don't know, this one may be a little bit long, but I try to keep these videos short for that exact reason. So let's take a step back from communicating with words, and let's look at communication differently. So about 70 to 93% of communication is nonverbal or some sort of energetic communication. And as we enter into this age of Aquarius, which is all about being scientific and innovative, we must also upgrade our personal technology. And in this particular video, it's about our communication skills. So I see that this is more of a shifting from a masculine form of communication to a more feminine form of communication. So basically shifting from our words to our energy. And so we should now start to pay more attention to our overall energetic field and what signals we're sending when we walk into a room, for example. We need to be aware and honest with ourselves if our energies are getting us the intended results. We need to be honest and aware with and we need to be honest, we need to be aware and honest with ourselves if our energies are representing us in the right way. Are we sending mixed signals with what we're thinking, but or if, versus what we're letting out? We need to be mindful of how others are responding to our energy. That is communication in and of itself. How are they responding to us energetically? And so this energy is definitely more subtle, but also, in my opinion, more important than words. And we should definitely be honest about what I just said earlier about picking up what we're picking up from others. What's the vibe that we're getting when we are around other people? Should we, is this a red flag? Should we look into something a little bit more? So overall, just be aware of the energy that we are transmitting. So Gemini is about being quick-witted, but I think this is a great time to really feel and reflect first before responding or reacting. So let's take this, I think, Gemini energy a step further. So, in my opinion, we've got about three minds. It may be a little bit more or less depending on who you ask, but I think we've got three minds. We've got our lower or animal mind, which, is the hunter, gatherer, the procreation mind. Then we've got our intellect, and then above that, we've got our intuition, and that's what I'm really focusing on right now. So our intuition connects us with our soul, our higher self, the spirit realm, and it's essentially the stepping stones of telepathic communication and even channeling. So we need to acknowledge the synchronicities and follow what's beyond the intellect. This intuition is a higher form of communication that has us align with our purpose. And intuition is self aware, it's fearless, it's beneficial to all, it's intentional, and it's inspirational. It's what pushes us to be better humans. But we must communicate to our intuition that we are receptive to it and that we are essentially open for business. So I'll just kind of briefly just talk about my own personal like clairaudient experience. Last year I had applied for a job, and I had already gone through the first interview. It went well. Was going through the second interview. Oh, I was preparing for the second interview with a larger executive panel, and I was researching the people that I was going to interview with, and so I was looking them up on LinkedIn, just writing down their names, their titles, their experience, just learning a little bit more about them before I would meet them. And so as I looked at the screen and I clicked on one of the ladies' profiles, I had this voice that just came to me that said, "She is going to have a problem with you." Very short, very loud voice. She will have a problem. She's going to have a problem with you. And I instantly knew, okay, that job is not for me. But I am going to just continue on with this, interview because it's in a day or two. So in between that time, I had completely forgotten that I even looked. I had that experience. I had that clairaudient experience. So the second interview came, and it was over Zoom, and so I was talking with the panelists and everything. And then when it gets to that lady's turn to ask me questions, she went total Karen on me and did not ask the designated question that she had to offer, and she tossed my resume aside and was, asking me, "Are you sure you can get it?" Like, she literally went like this, "Are you sure you can get it?" As if I'm like, so stupid that I can't answer the questions. So it was really weird because it was the exact opposite of how everyone else was acting. And I found out like through their HR later that they were going to give me an offer, but by that time I had emailed saying, "No, thank you. I don't want to have anything to do with it." So at first I was a little bit upset about it, but then looking back, knowing that like my intuition literally told me what was going to happen, it was almost funny. And I almost felt like a little bit bad for her because, you know, she was just acting out what my intuition was already telling me. So we have to really separate ourselves from like getting angry at others in that situation, because easily we can say, "Oh my gosh, this lady's crazy," but our intuition is already saving us and saving it more time and more work in the future if we just listen to it right here and right now. So I'll just quickly read off. I've got a number of like journaling questions that you can definitely use for this Gemini new moon, and I'll put them in the description box if you want to reflect on them a bit more, but I'll just run through them right quick. What are you communicating to your body with the food that you eat? What are you communicating to your heart and mind with the people you surround yourself with and the media that you consume? How does your soul or higher self or intuition communicate to you? Is it through clairvoyance, synchronicities, asking you to follow your passions? What are the cues? How can you communicate your belief systems energetically? Boundaries by being intentional. Is your energy opening up the type of opportunities you want? Is it being progressive, or are you finding things to be regressive? How can your embodied energy break old patterns and habits? How can you utilize communication as a form of abundance? Are you spreading more knowledge? Are you giving more? Are you able to get more time back on a deadline? So on and so forth. What type of communication does the world need now that you can give or provide it? So again, nothing is yet set in stone. It is up to you as an individual. So if you like this content about, the energies of the moon and how you can utilize it in your daily life, I have a course called Embody the Moon where I go deeper into all 12 full and all 12 new moons with all these themes, with journaling questions, light work sessions. I go deeper into the attributes of each sign, and all of that is linked below. So thank you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.